I don't know about you, but for me, the past 2 years have been pretty weird.
I shook hands with everybody.
Boris Johnson has tested positive for coronavirus.
Stay at home.
A lot of us have been without a gym, and even when a gym has been available, many of us have still been pretty unmotivated. Well, it's time to do away with all that because it's almost 2022 and we want to do a little ass kicking. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. Our daily eating routine, our entire weekly workout split, our secret weapons, and our essential tools. We're going to cover everything that we're going to be doing in 2022 to become the best versions of ourselves. And if you follow along, you will too. So take my hand, pay close attention, and follow me into the magical land of games. It is time to weigh in, and we are on our way to our local community college. We're going to be doing a hydrostatic water test.
It's like weighing in on the top tier. It's really breaking down your total body composition. If you don't have a hydrostatic test available, of course you can take skin fold, you can weigh in, you can take progress pics, you can take circumference measurements. There's a lot of different ways to track your process. Thankfully we have this available at a local college, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I've never done this before. I've been a personal trainer for many years and I've had my clients do it, but I myself have never done it, and I'm really interested to see how it goes.
Brandon's taking the plunge.
I am.
No
literally.
pun intended, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Just because I like
How's that water feel?
Feels so good.
You're calibrated. I just need to put in
Your first hydrostatic water test.
Yeah, that was the crunch. You gotta really crunch it in your abs. Make sure you get underwater, and that does help. Like JT was saying, to really expel all that air, but it's very uncomfortable trying to get all that air out. And I feel like every time you think you got all the air out, you can expel a little bit more. So, and then you have to keep still. So there's a lot to it, but really excited to see the outcome.
So we just got finished doing the hydrostatic water test, and I've actually done this before. And JT, what did I get today?
today you were just under 12, so 11.4%.
And how much did I get the last time I came in, about 2 years ago?
You're about 15.5%.
Wow, so those are big differences. You can see I actually weigh a little bit more than I did back for that first test 2 years ago, so I'm definitely happy with my results.
That concludes the test. So got a pretty good feeling of where we're at now, and I feel like that really helps set the goal for the future. And we're gonna get retested.
Absolutely.
So this is the starting point, and months down the line, gonna get retested and see what changes.
And now it's time to move on to the essential tools you'll need to make your fitness journey complete.
Yeah.
Much like Batman uses the gadgets in his utility belt to help solve crime, buff dudes use one app in particular on their phone in order to help stay in shape. And that app is MyFitnessPal. We've talked a lot about it in the past, and I am very proud to say this episode is actually sponsored by MyFitnessPal. So thank you, MyFitnessPal. We love you. You've helped us out big time. Because back in the day, I would think I was eating healthy, but one thing I didn't really realize was I didn't know how many calories and macros I was consuming. So I would fluctuate in weight. Sometimes I would get a little overweight, underweight, and I'd always think, well, what's the problem? I'm eating healthy. Why isn't this working? Well, I didn't have any idea of how much I was having on a daily basis. And once I started to use MyFitnessPal, everything came into focus, and I have to say it was almost life-changing because I made huge breakthroughs that I hadn't made for years due to plateaus, and it was really just the simplicity of how it works. So it's really an amazing tool, and one that we would consider an absolute essential if you want to better yourself, or if you already feel pretty good, just to keep going forward and keep getting stronger. And something that elevates MyFitnessPal even further is their premium membership. In it, you can get custom tools and expert guidance to help reach your personal health goals. If you want to do macro tracking, low carb, heart health, and you can experience a lot of changes almost immediately, like improved sleep, mood boosts, and overall health condition. In addition, you'll have support from other members with shared goals and experiences. And if you want to try the premium version of MyFitnessPal, go to buffdudes.myfitnesspal.com and use code BUFFDUDES, or click the link below to get 1 month of MyFitnessPal Premium for free. Again, go to the link in our description to get 1 month of MyFitnessPal Premium for free. That's buffdudes.myfitnesspal.com myfitnesspal.com and use code buffdudes. And if you do end up joining MyFitnessPal Premium, look for my account. I try to stay as consistent as I can. You can check out my diary, maybe get some good ideas in regards to recipes or what I'm eating, and vice versa. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and I gotta say, it is definitely #1 in our essential tools. Yeah.
I'm going to be going over a typical day of eating. Now, I keep things pretty simple for breakfast. I usually stick with oatmeal. I do 1 cup of oatmeal, I do a scoop of protein in my oatmeal, and then I do around 1 to 2 cups of fat-free milk with a medium to large sized banana. So very simple, and as you can see, it is predominantly carbohydrate and protein based with around anywhere from 600 to 800 calories, depending on the portion sizes for that day. Now, a lot of people wonder, how many calories should you have? How many macronutrients? How do you even find that out? How do you know? It can be a trial and error. I've kind of worked this out over many years of really tracking your calories and macros, seeing what works, what doesn't. But a very simple way and a general way to find out what you possibly might need is a total daily energy expenditure calculator. We've talked about this many times in the past. It can be very helpful, especially if you're first starting out, but it's definitely not a defined line. So you can really adjust things from that starting point. Me specifically right now, I'm going to try to lean down at this point. I just got over a bulk. I got up to 250 pounds, the heaviest I've ever been. And really that probably the highest body fat percentage I've ever been too. So really trying to lean down. At this point, I'm 3,100 calories a day with my macros, leaning towards the higher carbohydrate and higher protein, pretty low fat as you can see. Now that breakfast is done, it's time to go grocery shopping. Yeah. As you can see, we are in the fruit and vegetables section. Fruits, of course, being an excellent source of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates being a great way to provide energy, and you got the vegetables as well. You know, it's a great way to increase the amount you eat without increasing the amount of calories. So a lot of volume, but very little calories. So that's why having vegetables is very important. If you are on a calorie restricted diet, if you eat a lot of vegetables, you won't be getting a lot of calories, but you're gonna get benefit of feeling full and also getting a lot of vitamins, stuff like that. Now we got all the pre-made stuff here, and it's typically something I don't go with. It's really hard to control the macronutrients involved. If you are in a bind, some of the stuff can be good every once in a while. You know, you can just pop it in the oven or the microwave, heat it up and eat it. So it's not entirely out of the picture, but I really try to stay away from prepackaged processed stuff like that. It just makes eating a little bit more difficult when you can't have complete control over the calories and macros, or even the quality of your food too. We are in the meat section now, and animal products are going to be an excellent source of protein. Now, some meats are going to be a little bit higher in fats, some are going to be a little bit lower. Chicken breast, very low in fat, and of course steak or salmon is going to be a little bit higher in fat. So you can control the leanness levels of your meat, which is really good. So if you're going lower fat like I am, predominantly going to eat a lot of chicken and sometimes incorporating some of the steak or salmon, but not a lot because I'm watching my fat. Some people going a little bit higher in fat, definitely indulge on steak, salmon, stuff like that. So excellent source of protein and a great source of fat if you want it to be. Fat is also an essential macronutrient. It is very important for hormone regulation, also provides great energy as well. So if you're looking for fat, there's definitely a lot of sources. My particular favorite is going to be different types of nuts. You can also go peanut butter, you can go avocado. You can find it also in animal products like meat, milk, things of that nature. So it really all depends. But again, if you really want to try to target the specific macronutrient, there are sources that help do that. And nuts definitely are easy for me. So if I'm running a little bit behind, then I can just grab a handful, and that brings me up really quickly because they are packed full of fat. We are on to carbohydrates, and there's a lot of sources that you can go with. Rice, beans, pasta, bread, potatoes. It's readily available. If you're very active, you're gonna be using a lot of carbohydrates. For me, since I'm higher carbohydrates in my macronutrient split, I can eat a lot of it. And that really goes to show you that you need to understand not only the calories, but the macros too, because once you step in the grocery store, go shopping, you're gonna immediately know what you wanna buy, what kind of foods to get. And that is something that helped me big time, is really understanding the type of foods that I'm gonna be eating. So when I go to the grocery store, I'm not just picking out anything. I'm really able to dissect the foods that are gonna help me the best. That's why it's really good to understand your calories, your macros, and that is going to dictate what kind of foods you buy. Made it back from the grocery store and got some good food. I stuck with the foods that I know I like, I know how to cook, and that are gonna hit my macros and calories. Not a lot to it. There's a little bit of variety, so you can mix and match, but I already know I'm gonna have a lot of carbs, a lot of protein with a small amount of fat, and that's gonna help you as well. If you make sure you set up your macros and calories, it's gonna make shopping a hell of a lot easier because you have more of a goal to hit. And then once you buy that food, especially those kind of more single ingredients, you can construct your eating plan around that a lot easier, let's say, than prepackaged stuff like we talked about at the grocery store. So I'm going to make a very simple meal for lunch, which is gonna be 2 cups of brown rice. It's going to be around 10 ounces of 93% lean ground beef. And I'm just gonna chop up some arugula for some greens. And that's it. Very simple, easy to make. For me, it's very delicious, and that takes care of lunch. It is snack time, and I'm doing 170 grams of non-fat plain Greek yogurt, 1 scoop of protein powder, and 1 banana. 3 ingredients, but they are absolutely delicious. A lot of carbs, a lot of protein, just the way I like it. It takes almost no time at all to make something like this, and I usually have this either between lunch and dinner or after dinner for like a nice kind of later night snack, a little dessert. But it kind of depends on what the day brings, how busy my schedule is. You can always pre-make it as well, put it in a container and save it for later. So stuff like this that you can kind of pre-make and save can save a lot of time in the end as well, because you can make quite a few of these and have them later. It's almost like an overnight oat kind of thing where you can have just a bunch of them pre-made. But this is gonna be my snack, and then it's on to dinner. Last major meal, dinner. Got the brown rice that was actually cooked previously for lunch, and got some chicken and bell peppers, and wow, that looks delicious. I can't wait to have it. Predominantly protein, carbs. Got more of the fat at lunch with the beef, and I still have some fat to go, so probably fill that in with some almonds just to kind of try to round out my macros. But there you go, very simple. It's a full day of eating, and a lot of the food I cook more than I need for the day, so it usually carries into the next day or maybe even the third day. So it's awesome. It's almost a little bit like food prep as well. So you can have the same meals or similar meals for a few days, and then you can switch things up after that. So it's awesome. I'm gonna enjoy this meal, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this day of eating.
This entire week of working out is going to be based around our superhero plan, specifically stage 3. This is one that I have really enjoyed myself. I used it all throughout the pandemic, and it got me in some of my best shape of my life. So I hope it can for you too. As you notice, there's 6 days. That is a really big workload, but the great thing is you could work up to this, because days 5 and 6 kind of repeat the prior days with legs and back and chest, different exercises, but same body group. So if you're not up to that yet, you can just start with the 4 days a week, and you can eventually progress up to the 6. So that's the great thing. It's a week long, but this can guide you through many months and months and months as you continue to get better. We're starting with the really big exercises first, the big body groups, legs number 1, moving on to back and chest. Next gonna be shoulders and traps. So you can see we're beginning like a pyramid. We're starting with the really big ones, and we're slowly climbing up higher and higher, moving on to more isolation exercises and smaller muscle groups such as the biceps and triceps. And if you can't perform some of these exercises, such as the squats, which we're performing first, You can always do variations as well. You can do box squats, which is a great alternative, or you can even do body weight squats. So there's many different ways that people of all different fitness experience levels can join in and continue to get this done.
That is extremely difficult. Oh yeah. Working all facets of the leg there. Quads, glutes, hamstrings. You can definitely tell, because after the superset, your legs are shaking.
Moving on to our next superset, it's gonna be barbell hack squats with the glute bridges. So in our first exercise, we're gonna be focusing on the quads, and then moving on next to the glutes. With the barbell hack squat, this is a great alternative to the traditional hack squat machine you'll see in the gym. So if you don't have that, you can use this. As you can see, I'm elevating my heels slightly with some weight. That's just to alleviate a little bit of pressure off my lower back. So of course, with every new exercise, you wanna start light, get the form down before moving up. 4 sets, 10 reps each exercise. Here we go. You're gonna notice through this guide, we don't really have a section on cardio because the way we're doing this, you don't really need it. With the supersets, you're keeping your heart rate very high, so you're staying in an anaerobic and also an aerobic state as well. You're burning a shit ton of calories, and that's nice because you can consolidate your workouts even more. You get that workout done, then you don't gotta worry about the 30 to 45 minutes of cardio on the treadmill afterwards. That wraps up day 1. Rest up, recover, make sure and eat plenty of foods, hydrate. We'll see you again for day 2. Yeah.
Just got to the buffdudes gym here. As you can tell, it's still dark out. It is a little past 4:30 a.m. I'm gonna be heading into the gym. I can already hear Hudson setting up, so it's a good sign.
You know what time it is? It's buff dude time. It's not only early, but we're starting the day off with a superset. It's gonna be bent over rows right onto the bench press, so no rest between each set, and then just a little bit of rest in between, 30 to 60 to even up to 90 seconds. We're getting that heart rate high right off the bat, starting with 2 big compound movements. It's chest and back time.
Sometimes you gotta get early morning workouts in. Yeah, we're no strangers to this. It's been a while since we did 4:30 a.m. workouts. Probably been around 5 years or so. We used to meet up at LA Fitness in LA at 4:30 a.m. just to get our workouts in. And sometimes you just got to get it done that way. Sometimes your schedule gets so full, you have to wake up really early, you get your workout done. And that really goes to show you how dedicated you are. A lot of people might say, I don't have enough time to get my workout in. You do have enough time. You have to make the time, you have to get up early, you have to get it done. And sometimes it feels really good because you get it out of the way, it wakes you up in the morning, you get pumped, and you're ready to conquer the day afterward. Hell yeah, let's do it, baby. Not only a superset, it's also pyramiding. So we're starting with 12 repetitions, and then we're gonna slowly increase our weight while decreasing the reps, going down to 10, then 8. So
It definitely makes the difficulty a little bit higher, not only with the superset, but with the weight slowly increasing.
Another superset V-grip rows with the dips. If you're expecting to be a buff dude, you knew you were gonna have to put the work in, right? Well, that's what you're gonna be doing with this plan, but I'm telling you, it works.
You haven't had a pump unless you've done chest and back together. Damn, you got that full upper body. I mean, shoulders involved, triceps, biceps, of course, chest and back. I mean, there's no better feeling. Ooh. And then it all fades away in a few hours. It's like the ecstasy and then the agony. Yeah, these definitely get to you. 2 isolations, both working in a very stretched position. Pullovers, you really notice it not only in your lats, a little bit in your triceps and your chest as well, working in that flexion and extension of the arms. A lot goes in that one, but then of course immediately going on to flies, focusing on that deep stretch and the pectoralis muscle, and then bringing it up just to about the top position. Keep a little tension there, back down to stretch position. And yeah, definitely a good finisher for this workout. After this, I'm gonna definitely be done.
Getting day 3 started with seated barbell press. This is shoulders and traps, so big compound movement to start it off with. Then we're gonna be tapering down to the isolations. Get ready, because it's time to build those shoulders into boulders.
On to the final set, it's gonna be a drop set. Now, a lot of people might say, what are drop sets good for? They're really just focusing on the fatigue of the muscle. So you're not only completing the repetitions with a heavier weight. Once the muscle starts to fatigue and end at the 8 repetitions, you'll drop some weight so it can continue to rep it out with a lighter weight, do that till failure and so on. So you're just trying to fatigue the muscle as much as possible, involving a lot of extra muscle fibers that might not have come into play if you just did a straight heavy set. So that's why you'll feel a lot of burn in the muscle, and that's why you'll feel like you're gonna be failing, especially on the sets that you're dropping in weight.
And with fatigue comes the breakdown of form. So you could break a little bit, but you don't want to take it until you're just cheating and maybe leading yourself to injury, things of that nature. So as you're doing the drop sets, you want to just try to do as much as you can within reason. If you're only able to do 3 or 4 reps, call it good, because you want to fatigue, but you don't want to break the form so bad that it may lead to injury.
Very difficult. Really trying to focus on the full range of motion. As you can see, sometimes that can lack a little bit, but really try to get the full range of motion, and that's really going to utilize all the muscle fibers to contract, to bring that weight up. And yeah, it definitely works. Those shoulders feel fatigued.
The supersets have begun. We're beginning with cable face pulls, going right on to the shoulder extensions. Both going to be hitting the posterior deltoids. Of course, there's 3 heads to the deltoids. The anterior probably getting the most engagement through a variety of exercises, even secondary ones such as bench press. But you got to remember that there's 3 heads. So we're going to be hitting all of them today, including with the shoulder extensions, which isn't quite as well of a known exercise as some of the other ones. But regardless, it's excellent. So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot.
Good burn right there, those rear delts. Compound exercise with the face pulls, and then following up with an isolation for the posterior delts there. Shoulder extension, one of the movements that the posterior delt helps with, and that's why these work so well, specifically when you're taking it really extending all the way back. You notice a lot in the straight arm pull downs, you're utilizing shoulder extension, but from a higher position just to about that neutral position of the arm. The lats are really gonna help. Once you start extending a little bit further, that's when the rear delts really start firing up to carry that humerus, extending it all the way back. So these work really well. And again, like I was saying, not known as far as, compared to the other exercises, but damn, they do the job.
So as if a superset wasn't good enough for this workout, we're now moving on to a tri-set. We're gonna be working all 3 heads of the deltoids, beginning with the front raises, moving on to the laterals, and then doing the bent over reverse flies. So you're keeping that heart rate high, you're going from exercise to exercise to exercise, little rest times in between. We had the hydrostatic water test earlier in this video. It's always a great goal, either that or progress pics. It shows you where you are, and our goal for this upcoming year is to get into the best shape of our lives. We're gonna continue doing this workout, and we strongly advise you, if you're physically capable, to do the same.
Shoulders feel very fatigued doing that exercise back to back, tri-set or giant set. It really works, and really separating those movements pay off too, because working in shoulder flexion, the opposite of extension there, is gonna be the anterior deltoid, helps pull the humerus upwards. Of course, if you go a farther range of motion, the traps will get involved too. And right on to the abduction of the arms. The lateral heads there is gonna pull the humerus and adducting to the side, and then bent over horizontal abduction. And that's really gonna hit the posterior delt. So really trying to separate the muscle groups. And you can tell as well, you wanna take a little light, so that way you get the full range of motion, but really help control that movement in that specific angle too, to really pinpoint those muscles you're trying to work.
Traps were working as a secondary muscle group in some prior exercises we're doing, such as face pulls and the front raises, but now we're isolating it with the shrugs. We're going heavy with this one. It's, you're gonna feel it. Pretty easy motion, just vertical, bring it up, squeeze, hold, bring it back down to the bottom position. You couldn't forget those traps. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The all too classic shrug face. It's hard to avoid, especially when going this heavy. It's definitely very heavy. It's a very short range of motion. Elevating your shoulders there. The trap's pulling the shoulders up. Really good squeeze. The upper trap area really gets a lot of activation here, and it feels damn good.
You wanna, when you have that real thick neck and big traps, you just look buff. You don't want them too big though. You want to be able to turn your head. You do, you're like, fuck, I gotta take a shit.
Final exercise, ab rollouts. If you don't have an ab roller available, you can just grab a barbell, put 2 45s, 25s, just use that to roll back and forth. Very effective for the core. This wraps up day 3. We'll see you next time for arms.
Starting off with 2 compounds, utilizing more muscles than isolations and more joints. So multiple muscles, multiple joints. You're really trying to target a little bit more of the triceps by closing in your grip and focusing on a really good full extension at the top, squeezing the triceps, and
And with the underhand chin-ups, you're really focusing on the biceps there. You don't really have to go all the way down. You really do want to focus on getting those biceps engaged, squeezing the top position there. So you're really going to try to target the muscle, but seeing how these are compounds, your chest is going to get involved, your shoulders. It is definitely a major start to this workout. And man, we're not messing around. It's going to give you a good pump. It's a good day. Arms day is always a good day. Damn. And this is just the beginning. Skull crushers, drop set, 3 sets. Every single set is gonna be a drop set. Ooh, that creates a lot of pump. I mean, that's pushing blood into the triceps. The body is forced to engorge the triceps with blood, oxygen, nutrients. Damn. God, I love working out. I can't even squeeze my triceps, they're too sore. Got down to skull crushers, onto barbell curls, another classic for the biceps. And we're gonna do another drop set. 3 sets, each set containing drop sets. And again, it's all about that fatigue, that activation in there. Let's do it. Oh man, oh yeah. A lot of people want to know how to build their biceps. This is sometimes what you got to go through. It's painful, it's difficult. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but doing stuff like this is going to build the biceps, is going to make them grow. There's always a payment. You gotta pay something to get something back, right? The payment is pain, and what you get back is gains. Yeah.
That was poetic. That was like buff dude. That was like buff dude.
It just came to me, man.
Yeah.
It's a bicep pump. That's what happens. The more pump you get, the more philosophical you get. Yeah.
Okay, it's time for the most important part of arms day. Let's see where the growth is at. 19 inches, baby. Pure USDA American beef. I'm a very happy buff dudes. I'm a very plural. Okay. I'm not very plural. I am a single bicep. The brains, baby. They're right here and here. It is plural. Ooh. The right side of my body is the less dominant. I'm left-handed. So I always like to throw a few more repetitions on my weaker side. It's a slow process. We'll get a lot of people asking, hey, one arm is bigger than the other, what do I do? You're not gonna work the other arm just once in the gym and all of a sudden it's gonna be the same time. It takes quite a while. So I just like to try to focus on my weaker body parts in order to stay symmetrical.
The extensors and the flexors, so 2 different muscles located in the forearms, or I should say 2 different movements as well, because the extensors are working more in this capacity, extending, where the flexors, as the name explains, is more flexing. So extensors, overhand grip, with the curls there, it's gonna focus on the brachialis muscles, and with the finger curls, really working this meaty portion of the forearms, all through here. The flexors, so you're curling it up and squeezing, and it's insane the amount of pump you can get with finger curls. A lot of rock climbers will tell you, working these, they'll get so pumped, so much blood in there that, it's really hard to make a fist. They're just so tight. So it's kind of it's a good feeling, it's really working. So I'm pairing these 2 up, are an excellent forearm pump, excellent forearm workout. There we go, ending with some side crunches. Arms are done, ending with a little abdominal work, the obliques here. Yeah. After bulking for all those months, it's kind of nice to slowly see little remnants of abdominals. They're still there. Anyway, they've been in hibernation for quite a while now. So once they make their final reveal, I want to make sure they look good. So it's always good to incorporate your abdominals and your core in general. I mean, lower back as well. But ooh, this one's particularly good because you're crunching the side body there. Really in those obliques. I always like to think of the obliques as like the framing for your abdominals. It just looks so good when you have all that nice obliques there to frame your six pack. It looks really cool. So those side crunches, great way to get that. Oh, there we go. 2 more workouts to go. Back to chest and back, and also legs to finish off this week. 6 workouts in 1 week. It's a lot, but you know what? It pays off. Yeah.
Here we go, legs number 2. We're gonna get started with front squats. It's gonna be a pyramid set, so we're doing 3 sets, 12, 10, 8, focusing more on the quads with this one. This workout is gonna be a little easier than our earlier leg workout, which your legs are gonna be thanking you for because they're gonna be feeling pretty shot at this point. So a little lighter, but by no means easier because you're using every last bit of your muscle endurance left to perform this workout. Moving on next to the hex bar deadlifts, supersetted with the holds. The plan actually calls for the farmer walks. That's gonna be 20 yards, but we don't really have space in our gym, so we're varying it up a little bit with the holds. That's the great thing. With every exercise, you can always modify it a little bit based upon your surroundings. So we're doing the holds, but if you have enough space, we recommend the walks.
Not only do you want to really squeeze that grip, make a fist as hard as you can, get a lot of forearm activation, but slightly shrug up your shoulders, get a lot of traps involved, and push your hips through, squeeze your glutes, and flex your quads. So something simple as a hold all of a sudden becomes like this full body activation. It feels damn good. Gotta say, one great thing about these single leg RDLs, not only works a lot on balance, activation, the hamstrings, but it's gonna require you and teach you tempo. Because if you do these too quickly, you're immediately gonna be thrown off balance. You really have to tighten everything up. Tighten your core, your glutes, hamstrings, even upper body to stabilize the movement of the dumbbell. So you have to take it nice and slow, control that tempo, and that's gonna make it a little bit easier as far as the balance goes, but it makes it even more difficult because now you're contracting and focusing so much on the movement that you immediately feel the difference. And that can carry over into other exercises too. Thinking about tempo, you don't have to go really heavy in weight, really get the full range of motion, take it up slow, take it down slow, get a lot more activation, really focus on the muscle at hand. Oh yeah.
Final exercise of day 5. It's gonna be weighted plank, 60 seconds, 3 sets. Couldn't forget the core. We'll see you for the final day of this weekly workout split. It's gonna be chest and back. Yeah! We're getting the final day of the workout split started with arguably 2 of the strangest exercises of the week. It's going to be the prone rows supersetted with the floor press. It's gonna be pyramiding once again, so you're going up in weight, down in reps. It's gonna be 3 sets. If you don't have a prone row machine, you can always substitute it with the bent over rows. And the floor press, if you've never done it before, give it a try. It's a precursor to the bench press, and it's also an excellent exercise. So supersets, man, that'll get you pairing up chest and back together. Very short rest time. I got my watch going. I got my heart rate very high, as you can see there. You're not only getting a hell of a good pump, you're burning a lot of calories as well. It's time to get as buff as we ever have, and you too. Another superset. This time it's gonna be 2 unilateral exercises, single arm, dumbbell rows supersetted with the incline dumbbell press. A lot of stability in the incline press because your core is gonna really engage. Center of gravity changes as you're bringing the weight from one side of the body. So Hell of a great chest and back exercises back to back, also engaging some secondary muscles such as the core.
One thing you really want to focus on in this one is the lats, and you're utilizing lats due to the shoulder extension. So you're pulling your arm up like this, so it's extending in the shoulder, but it's also flexing in your elbow there. So it's working a little bit of the biceps, but because of that shoulder extension, those lats are really gonna fire up. And with the incline press there, dumbbell, due to the angle, you're really going to be working the clavicular portion, the upper portion of the chest there. So 2 movements that are really trying to target a specific muscle group, even though it's a compound. And because it's unilateral, you can really try to get in touch with that muscle to really squeeze at that top position and really feel that engagement.
Superset number 3, we got the lat pull down supersetted with the kneeling landline press, another great exercise for the clavicular portion of the chest. Back to back, little rest in between, 30 to 90 seconds. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty damn pumped right now. Our goal is to explode by the end of the final day.
I was really tempted to put my shirt on, but sometimes you have to see your weak points. Right now, it's a little bit more body fat percentage than I want, but you know what? That's what it's all about. I'm working to get as lean as possible, doing the hydrostatic test, huge motivation, seeing that, gave me a goal. And you know, sometimes you gotta stare at your weak points because that reminds you what you really wanna work on, what you're really aiming for. And I can look back on this and be like, hell yeah, that's where I started. And then you look at yourself in the mirror months later and say, and that's where I am, I'm damn proud of it.
Wrapping up the Buff Dudes weekly workout split with the hanging, twisting leg raises, 10 reps each side. This one's gonna pull you to your limit. It's hitting your core, but it's also really hitting that grip as well. We're done. Thank you for joining us. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. This is very close to what we're gonna be doing throughout 2022. We hope you can follow along if you can. Again, if it's a little too hard, cut a few days out, slowly work up to this. Grab our superhero plan, link in the description, show some support. We love you. Buff bless you.
The week has come to an end, and I feel like this has been very eye-opening with the hydrostatic test, is very motivating with all the workouts, and of course now that the new year's coming around, really reevaluating my goals. I want to try to get as lean as possible. I've definitely been lean in the past, but now I have a competition against myself to see how good a shape I can actually get in. Of course, with the hydrostatic test, I have a very good starting point, and within 4 or 6 plus months from now, I'm gonna go back to see how I've done. And of course, like any brothers do, it's gonna be a little bit of a competition. Yeah, me versus Hudson to see who can get the leanest. And of course now we have it in paper form to see where we started and where we're gonna end up. So that's gonna be very exciting. And let us know what your goals are for 2022. If you enjoyed this video, you know, it was really about trying to motivate everyone, trying to maybe show anything new, you know, through the eating, the workouts, or some of the evaluation you can do like the hydrostatic test to have a good starting point. Let us know what your goals are for 2022, and we will see you then. And as always, stay buff.